When it comes to your personal information, you expect your service providers to protect it and notify you when it's accessed by third parties. That's not the case anymore. Big tech companies are constantly tracking, listening, and watching you without your knowledge.
Watching us with 10,000 eyes. Listening with 1,000,000 ears.
What did I tell you about sending emails?
For 3 weeks, you could practically
Put anything in an email you cannot own.
Today, I want to talk about how police wrongfully arrested and held a man based on data they received from a request to Google. The date is March 14th, 2018, 12:15 a.m. Officers in Avondale, Arizona responded to a report of gunshots at Central and Western. Police arrived on scene to find a man, Joseph Knight, shot 9 times. Unfortunately, he was dead by the time help arrived. The police struggled to make progress for several months, their only lead being camera footage showing a white Honda with an unreadable license plate leave the scene. In a pinch to get results, police decided to use a relatively new technique to identify Joseph's killer, a Google geofence to identify all active accounts in the area at the time of the crime. The result was 4 accounts, one of which being a man named George Molina, who also happened to drive a white Honda. Investigators believed that they had their man, and on December 13th, 2018, investigators arrived at Molina's place of work, Macy's, and arrested him for premeditated first-degree murder, discharging a firearm within city limits, discharging a firearm at a residence, drive-by shooting, marijuana possession, and possession of drug paraphernalia. He was booked into the county jail and held on a $500,000 bail.
New at 5, his Google searches gave him away. Avondale police solving a 9-month-old murder with the help of technology. Jorge Molina is accused of shooting Joseph Knight, who was riding his bike home from work near 4th Street in Avondale. Investigators used a search warrant for Google to find phones that were in the area when Knight was murdered. They also found Molina had searched for shootings in Avondale, AZ last night. Also,
And while he was in custody, Molina confirmed that he was the owner of a white Honda Civic and that his Google account was not shared with anyone. Molina denied having anything to do with the murder, but couldn't explain why his car and GPS location were near the crime scene. And it gets worse. His Google account showed searches for shooting in Avondale the night of the murder. The arrest was touted as a success. A huge amount of articles and a press release were published showing Avondale PD's use of Google data to solve a crime. Molina's face plastered as a murderer over every news aggregate in the area. Hope to be proven innocent seemed to be dwindling. Molina explained that his former stepfather, Marcos Guieda, frequently took his car without his permission, and Molina's mother confirmed that Marcos had a gun that he kept on him at all times. It was later found out that Guieda was already wanted in connection with a murder in California, and that's not all. Molina had a very solid alibi. 2 of Molina's friends even reached out to the police with information that proved he was with them attending a movie on March 13th. He ended up dropping one of them off at their home at 11:30 p.m. and returned home with the second friend, who later left in an Uber at 12:11 a.m. The murder occurred at 12:13 a.m., 2 miles away from where Molina was at the time. And the case gets worse from there. The day after Molina was arrested, a detective sent a text to the deputy attorney explaining that Molina was highly unlikely the murderer and recommended that he be released. Unfortunately, the authorities released the press release on December 17th, 3 days before Molina would be released, bragging about how the police successfully caught a murderer with Google data. The prosecutor decided to not pursue a case as there was multiple inconsistencies with Molina's location data, and it was later concluded that a phone that the stepfather had access to was signed into Molina's Google account and frequently showed that Molina's account was in 2 places at once. After his release, Molina never received an apology or a formal letter removing his arrest from his record. During his hiatus in jail, he was obviously fired from his job and dropped from his college programs, and since then has been unable to find a job due to the arrest still showing on his record, despite him being found innocent. All because the police didn't want to do a thorough enough investigation with Molina's Google data, and after the arrest decided to double down and release their press release with an innocent man on it anyway. Unfortunately, this is a growing trend with authorities, requesting information from these big tech conglomerates who invasively collect user data, a lot of times without the user not even knowing the extent of the data collection. And it's not just Google. Apple was found to comply with 80 to 90% of data requests from law enforcement. Your email, messages, location data, search history, cloud storage, and much more is all up for grabs, even if you're completely innocent. Your data might have even been already rifled through without you even being aware of it, because these companies won't even notify you. And even if these companies did want to notify you, in some cases warrants are served with gag orders that restrict companies from notifying the public about access. But in Melina's case, Google had a choice to notify Melina. They did not. Data requests, hackers, and government spying are just a few of the reasons why you should steer clear from using only one provider for everything you need. Never put all of your eggs in one basket. Instead, look for alternatives. Switch your email provider from Gmail or iCloud to ProtonMail or Tutanota. Start messaging through Signal or a decentralized messaging option such as Jammy or Briar. Drop services like Discord and use a federated service that uses end-to-end encryption, like RiotIM. Encryption and free and open source software and services are 100% your friend when it comes to preventing data collection. And if you're unable to switch services or devices, be sure to go through your privacy settings and turn off and delete anything you don't need remembered. There is much more that you can do to protect your data, but distributing yourself across multiple platforms makes it much more difficult for your privacy to be invaded, and maybe even accused of murder. Thanks for watching. If you like this new direction for the EyeSeeAll channel, be sure to leave a like and share your thoughts down below. Also, be sure to subscribe to my channel on BitChute, and be on the lookout for my new privacy blog, EyeSeeAll.info, in the coming months. I'll be posting software reviews, recommendations, and full instructions on how to prevent your privacy from being invaded, how to prevent being doxxed, and much more. Again, thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.